And we are live. Hello, salam, namaste, bonjour, wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in to Learn and Laugh Out Loud with me. Your host, Sumair. I'm a business growth and leadership coach, and I'm on a mission to help you build your dream career and business. So, today on our show, we'll be talking about content creation, branding tips, storytelling, and organic traffic. And we have the lovely Rhonda with us. And here's the big reveal. There she is. Hey, Rhonda.
Hello. I noticed you didn't even try my last name.
I wasn't going to because I was pretty sure that I was going to screw it up.
That's awesome.
So it's Selvastrini, right?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Perfect. 10 out of 10. Okay, good.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
First, that picture you have, what is that? Is that like a Cosmo cover, the Vogue cover? What is that?
What picture?
The picture.
Oh, my headshot? It's just a headshot. Thank you.
And you look exactly like your headshot, which is awesome.
Right? A lot of people don't. Thank you.
I'm still using my headshot from back when I was 20 pounds lighter. So that should tell you a lot of things. But anyways, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
You know the format of the show, so I must say that you're a very brave person to agree to be on this. So before we get into a lot of serious but fun stuff, let me throw a curveball at you. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. So here it is. What is your favorite angry word?
I'm not allowed to say it on TV.
It's not TV. This is live something, you know.
I would have to say that I find the F-bomb to be very satisfying to drop once in a while.
Couldn't agree with you more. Because you know,
right? It's a verb, it's a noun. The situation just warrants it sometimes. So definitely the F-bomb.
Yeah. It just, it helps you to get a lot of that negative energy out of you and make you feel better. So I 100% agree with you.
And it's short. So it doesn't expend a lot of energy when you say it.
It's funny we are talking about content and there are so many ways to describe that one word without saying that one word. So yes. I'm loving it.
Okay. And everyone knows what it is.
Everyone knows what it is.
It doesn't need translation.
Yeah. So super cool. So Rhonda, I've been following your posts, and I was also at one of your talks yesterday where you talked about ghostwriting and tips on communication. I wanted to start today on something which you've always talked about as, content being a secret salesperson for you. I love that. Can you tell us more about what you mean by that?
Absolutely. Content for your business is one of the best ways to drive organic traffic. It's your secret salesperson because it's out there working for you 24/7. And it's evergreen. So not only is it working day in and day out, it's available years down the road. So when you're really writing intentionally for your audience about your expertise or how you can help them with your thought leadership, you're answering their questions, you're really solving their challenges, your content is always going to be there 24/7. And so if someone searches for it next year, it will still be there and it will come up in their feed. So that's why I say it's your salesperson working 24/7, because it's drawing them right back to you to get to know you, to understand who you are, and making them want to do business with you.
Very cool. Very cool. So now based on that, can you share a couple of examples of, let's say you take a particular profession or a professional. Can you give us an example of what kind of content they should be creating?
Blogging is one of the most popular ways to reach your audience. And it really gets a bad rap because I think when people first think about blogging, they think, well, I don't want to read about people's cats, which there's nothing wrong with that. Or I don't want to read about someone's vacation because I'm not on one. But blogging is such an organic way to reach your audience. It really allows you to invite them into a conversation with you. It's much more conversational in tone, but it's also a way that you can really educate them. You can add stories in there so that you are more relatable to them. And again, it lives on your website, so it's coming back to you. So blogging is actually the most popular type of content that I think is so underutilized and really helps drive more traffic to your business organically.
Sure. And speaking of, organic is the buzzword, right?
Yes.
Even when we go out to buy food which we used to buy 20 years ago, which was called the normal food. Now when we go out,
the normal food.
Normal food is now organic, so we have to pay more. So, I kind of hate and love that word organic. But having said that, I wanted to ask you, in terms of creating content, be it a blog, an article, what are some of the tips that you would suggest for people to, in terms of what kind of content they should write that it grows organically instead of you forcing it, instead of being salesy?
Oh, perfect. Well, and that's the beauty of a blog. So people want to do business with companies they know, like, and trust. So when you are creating a blog, you're building that trust with your audience. So you really want to answer their questions before they're asked. You want to solve their pain points. They're coming to you for answers. So you want to be that key influencer in your industry who's answering those questions with your unique perspective and your unique expertise, if you will. And so it's really important that you really understand what your audience is asking. So look at other people's articles, because someone's already written on the topic that you want to talk about.
Sure.
But you have such a unique perspective that you have the opportunity to fill in the information gaps. So with your content, you can really dig deep and really meet the readers where they want to gain their information, what they need. So if you look at other people's content that's out there and look at the comments that people are making on that content, you can see where the information gaps are and then fill in those gaps with your content. So you're really feeding the need of your audience. And as long as you're doing that, then you're consistently driving traffic. And when I say organic, that means that you're not paying for that traffic. You're not paying to have that content out there with an ad. You're putting it out there for the world to find you because you're answering their questions with your expertise, and you're doing it in such a good way that they continually want to seek you out.
No, absolutely. And as you said, the challenge today is not lack of knowledge, but there's too much of it, knowledge and information. And how do you decipher, and how do you, funnel it out in a way that what you want to, throw out there is relevant to your craft and to the audience that you're catering to. Now let's go back to a crazy question, right? A curveball. Because this is too much serious talk for me, and I
love it. Let's take a left turn.
Let's take a left turn, because I like to distract. So, are you ready for the next curveball?
Let's go.
Okay. So let's see, and as always, there is no right or wrong answer. It's just how you feel at that point. Okay. So, question: why do people love their yoga instructor?
I love my yoga instructor because she makes me feel so good. She forces me to get into these beautiful stretches that I wouldn't otherwise know about. But then she lets me just breathe.
Okay.
Sometimes she'll just say, just breathe. And she'll count with me and force me to breathe. I mean, really, we're a society that needs more yoga.
I think so. And it's how you explained it, that people love their yoga instructors because, your yoga instructor helps you breathe. The answer I have is that people love their yoga instructors because they bend over backwards for you.
Ha, ha, ha. Oh, har.
Imagine doing that for your customers, man. They're always happy.
Yeah, mine does headstands for me, but whatever.
Yeah, I can only do headstands in my dreams.
Yeah, exactly.
And not even that, I think. So let's go back, and that's what we do. Let's go back to content creation. organic traffic, and you talked about catering to your audience. Let's touch
Yeah.
upon branding. What is branding all about? What is, I mean, branding to a lot of people is looking at Pepsi, Nike, Amazon. What does that have to do
Yeah.
with us folks?
Your branding is the voice of your business, if you will. It's how you're presenting your business out to the world. It's how you show up consistently. So what does that mean for you? Does it mean a certain color for you? Does it mean a certain font for you? For me, it's really about how I communicate with my audience and how I show up for them. I like to wear my little t-shirt that says "Let's Write" because I think it encourages my audience, but it's also a part of my brand. It demonstrates that I just want to write. I want to help people write. I want them to write bravely and fearlessly and have fun with it. And your brand is really, it's really how you showcase out there into the world. So you want to make sure whatever that means to you, again, if it's your colors, if it's your font, but it's really the voice of your business, you want to show up consistently out there all the time so people associate you with the brand that you're putting out there.
Very cool, very cool. So brand is like a promise that you have to live up to.
It can be, definitely, for
Yeah.
sure. Yes.
So whatever you put out there, you have to live up to it also. So it's
You
not just fancy words and logos, right? It's more deeper than
No,
that.
it does go deeper than that. Like, look at your brand. Learn and laugh out loud. You promise that with everybody, and that's what you deliver. And for me, I promise that you're going to write bravely and fearlessly when you're done working with me. And I've achieved those results time and again. So it's definitely your promise to people.
Yeah. I mean, I came up with this because I couldn't come up with anything better, really. I was like, okay, what is it that I do? Okay, I like to learn and I like to laugh and laugh with people. And that's being authentic. I think one of the key things when it comes to branding. Okay, awesome. Now I wanted to build up on that and share a few tips on storytelling, branding, and I have like 100 slides. No, I'm just kidding. I have a couple of slides I want to share because I certainly believe it, not killing people with PowerPoint. So let's do this. Okay, so hopefully this will work. Sometimes it doesn't, and I have to, it is actually working. Okay,
Hey, there
now,
it is.
so you're my eyes. What do you see on your screen, Rhonda?
Tell your story to the right audience.
Tell your story to the right audience. So
Yes.
very quickly, I wanted to share a few insights which I think are very important for storytelling, because a lot of times I hear people saying, you have to tell a story, you have to tell a story. I'm like, come on, man, stop saying that and tell a story. So I'm going to tell a story.
Tell me a story.
Here it goes, Rhonda. So this story is about, let's call this person Sharon. Sharon went to another town to attend a conference, right? And the night before the conference, she was in her hotel room and she spills coffee on her dress. Poor thing, right? Spills coffee on her dress and she's like, what is she going to wear tomorrow? So obviously she has to go shopping. So close to her hotel, there's a mall. She goes to the mall and she's shopping, but then, and she's not very happy, right? Because, she has to do this. She didn't want to, but she's pleasantly surprised. I wonder why. Why is she surprised? And why is she happy? Because this is not a good thing. Anyways, she buys a dress, goes to the conference, all goes well, goes back to her town, and goes to an all-girls lunch. And, everybody's telling their story, and she shares her ordeal with her friends, and they're like, oh my God, is that what happened to you? And she's like, yes. But then she shares a surprise. And the surprise was that when she was shopping for a dress, she found out that she dropped a size.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, isn't that big?
Woohoo.
And when she says that, the same girls are like, oh, how did you do it? Tell us which diet you're on. So you see what she did there? 2 minutes ago, everybody felt sorry for her. And 2 minutes later, they wanted her to tell them what worked for her. And that's how you tell a story, right? Now, I know that not everybody has the same story, so I just want to quickly share 3 tips on how you can tell your story in a similar way. Firstly, When you tell a story from your personal experience, people are genuinely interested.
Mhm.
Um, and what I wanted to say about that is a lot of interesting things happen to all of us. Some of us pay attention and keep those stories so they can share at the right time. And that's what one needs to do. To be funny, to be spontaneous, one has to practice and be very observant. Secondly,
Mm.
telling a story is like playing a card game, like a poker game. You don't have to show all your cards together. And lastly, you have to tell your story to the right audience. You cannot be selling cat food to a dog person. It doesn't work. And that was my little bit on how to tell your story to the right audience. Let's go back to Rhonda.
I like what you said there, and be observant. And when you listen to your audience, that's when you really engage them, because you're listening to them, you're answering their questions, you're talking about things that are relevant to them. So you're creating that engagement. And when you tell stories, you're humanizing your conversation, your blog post. You're showing that you're relatable to them. So you're saying, yep, I spilled coffee just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And so then people think, oh, well, I've done that before too. And you start this conversation. And again, it's the trust. You're building trust with your audience. And when they know that you're listening to them, you gain even more authority and trust because they feel heard.
Yep. And, I'm sharing this for the first time live, that this story that I shared, I did not sit down and think about a story like this. It actually happened to someone. And I was sitting close to them in a hotel lobby. I was eavesdropping, sorry. And I heard this, and I'm not sure their intent was this, but when I heard the story, I was like, man, what a great story. How do I spin it in a way that it makes sense to people who create content? So that's how this story, was born. So you have to be observant, right? You have to be observant.
Yes. Yes. I have so many questions. Why didn't she bring another dress for the next day? But whatever.
She was a light packer, which is very surprising, right?
Again, so many questions.
So many questions.
But yes, be observant. Listen. That's one of the most important things when it comes to your audience. Otherwise, you're just putting out noise like everyone else.
Very cool. Wanted to also ask you about, if someone is reluctant to write social media posts or, write like little blog, and blog doesn't have to be like the first volume of encyclopedia. It could be just like 7 lines. How would you encourage a person like that to, start writing something?
Well, let me back up a bit. A blog really should be more than 6 or 7 lines. Your blog.
That shows how much depth I have. Thank you for
your social posts. Your social media posts can be about 6 or 7 lines.
Okay.
Your blog actually should not be less than 1,200 words. It really should be more than, it should be more, it should be closer to 3,000 words. Anyway, we digress.
You made me realize I'm going to stop calling myself a blogger now. I'm going to call myself.
The more content you put out, so if you put out a blog post that's over 3,000 words, it's more likely to be shared by your audience. People want depth. They want to be educated and they want to be informed. So you can start with a blog post, but if that seems overwhelming, and it can feel overwhelming to think about having to put 3,000 words down on a page, that's a lot. That is a lot. Even 1,000 words can feel like a lot. So start with a social post. Start with maybe a quote that you like, but start with your story. So what is your story? What makes you you? Why do you do what you do? And why are you the expert in your field? And start sharing that with your audience so they can get to know you and understand your purpose, understand your mission, and understand what it is that you can offer them, and just start small. And then from there, once you're creating engagement with them and you're seeing what questions that they have or how they're conversing with you, then you can move into a blog, and then you can write more for them so that you're really engaging them and really just having a deeper level of conversation, if you will.
Very cool. I'm just astounded because there are a lot of people out there who are looking for that depth. They're not
Mhm.
looking for, something like a TikTok, which does work for a lot of people, but there are a
Yeah.
lot of people who are looking for depth, and depth comes from writing in detail. So that's awesome, and the important part is, as you mentioned, you have to start, right?
Yes. And writing is a scary venture, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. And it's a vulnerable place to be. It's very vulnerable to put your words out there because people are quick to criticize before they are to compliment.
True.
So you're always afraid that you're going to be hit with a hater. That's not your audience. You want to really think about your audience and write for them because they need you and they're waiting to hear from you. And they know that you're going to provide value in what you put out there. So when you flip the script and you think about it in those terms, the fear dissipates because you know you're helping one person. And I always say, if I'm helping one person, that's all that matters. That one person heard me, was able to find some improvement in their world because of what I've written for them. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And if there's one person who's listening to you or reading your stuff, chances are there are more people like that person.
Right.
And that's how you build your audience. And it just reminded me of a quick story. My daughter, when she was in, I think, fourth grade, one of her, I think, school, it was not a concert, it was something else. And one of her teachers said something so cool, I'll always remember it. She said, all the kids here, they need to figure out how they will find their place in the world.
Mm.
If their thing is staring at the wall the whole day, good for them. As long as they can find their place in the world. And we all have a place in the world. We just have to
Mhm.
figure out how to find it. So
Yeah.
very cool. I'm going to call you Dr. Rhonda from now on. If that's okay with you.
I've been called like the word therapist and the book whisperer.
All cool terms. I can live with that. I can live. So let's go. Let's throw a curveball at you, right?
Let's do it.
Let's do
It's
it.
been a little while since we've had one.
Yeah, it's been what, 10 minutes? Okay,
Something.
that's too long, right? Because according to me, a blog was 7 lines, and you
Right. Don't put that out into the world.
Do not put that out in the world.
Well, and the beauty of let me just get back in here for a second. The beauty of a long blog post, if you write a long blog post, you can repurpose that content for so long. You can take pieces out and create a social media post, or you can just put on a new title and publish it out onto another platform. So the more content you have, the more you're able to reach a broader audience on different platforms. Okay.
Perfect. You're so right. And that's when I'm working with people and they're just feeling nervous about doing all these things, and I'm like, you know what? Sometimes it's just one thing you create and you repurpose it for different platforms, and
Right.
that's how it works. You do not have to reinvent the wheel every time. Okay, so here we go.
Here we go.
What is the most obnoxious, hilarious, weirdest thing one can do on their first date, or one has done with you on your first date?
Well, I've been married for 25 years, so can't remember a first date. I would think one of the most obnoxious. There's just so many answers to this question.
Let's pick one.
I mean, obviously, one of the most obnoxious things is to just be on their phone the whole time. So obviously, they're not interested.
Even if they're sharing great content.
Probably I don't know about a hilarious thing. I don't know. God, this is a good one. Probably one of the weirdest things would be to leave or to go and pick up someone else at a bar or something. I guess that would be something.
that would be weird unless the other person really wanted them to leave and
exactly.
Then it would be a good thing. So
right?
We'll just live with that. So the weirdest thing would be to just leave.
Just leave. I don't know if that's weird, but yeah.
It is weird. Especially when you have not even paid the bill. So it would be really weird.
Yeah. Does that fall in the hilarious or the obnoxious category?
I don't know, maybe both. Maybe both.
Right.
So before I ask you the last question, I wanted to give you a chance to say some parting words about what you do for a living, how you help people. So if people want to reach out to you, pay you $1 million, how do they do it?
I would love that. My mission is really to help people find the voice of their brand, find the voice of their business, and get it out to the world and write bravely and fearlessly, because people have so much good to share with the world, with their expertise, and that content will really help them get the voice of their brand out into the world. So I really help people kiss their stuck goodbye, get rid of that fear, and write content for their business to reach their audience authentically and organically, while also really showing their transparency and their expertise to be that key thought leader in their industry. So I would love for people to reach out. They can visit my website at rhondasalvestrini.com. They can send me an email at hello@rhondasalvestrini.com and let me know how I can help them. We can, start off small with writing blog posts and industry articles, or we can write a book together. So I can help them in whatever capacity they need to get their voice of the brand out into the world.
Very cool, very inspiring. I love that. And you should write for Hollywood. You come up with all these things. Saying you're stuck goodbye. That's a cool line. That could be a movie, I think.
Do you think so? Kiss your stuck goodbye.
You're stuck. If I was in the 90s, I would have thought of Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks, but they're really old now. So maybe we need new people now, right?
Right. With a different story, maybe.
With a difference, of course. Now, this is a question I ask everyone, and I'm going to ask you too. If heaven exists and when you arrive at the pearly gates, what do you want God to say to you?
Come on in. It's a party.
Very cool. Very cool. I like the spirit. I like the positivity.
Yeah. I would hope so. That's a James. I can't remember his last name, but he used to ask everybody that question too.
That's true. That is true. Inside Actor Studio. That's where I stole it from.
I love it. I love that question.
I believe in the saying that good artists copy, great artists steal. So I stole that question.
Yep, that's fantastic. And you stole it, so it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. And I'm acknowledging it. So it's not really a steal then, right?
No, and he's not using it anymore. So it's great that you still are. You're continuing.
Keeping up with the legacy, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we say goodbye to Rhonda, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you like what you saw, go to my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification on, and you'll get reminders of future episodes. And speaking of future episodes, the new year, I'm going to start with a bang. So our next episode is with Hala Taha. If you want to know who she is, just Google her name and you'll get 2.7 million results. That is crazy. So that's what I'm looking forward to. That is awesome, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I firstly, I couldn't believe that she agreed to do this with me, but when I found out, wow, she's so famous. So that's pretty cool. So looking forward to that. So lastly, thank you so much, Rhonda.
Thank you. This was fun. Thank you very much.
It was fun. I learned. We laughed.
We laughed a lot.
We laughed. Hopefully at no one's expense, because that's pretty bad. But I don't think we did. I don't think so. Pretty real. Yeah.
Just the woman who, who spilled the coffee on her dress. But we didn't laugh at her expense.
No, we didn't. And we called her Sharon, not Karen. So that's okay.
She wasn't a Karen.
She wasn't a Karen. Okay. Anyways. All right. Bye, everyone.